How's everybody? Welcome to Gaming and Still Life. This is your host Rich, and today I'm reporting the state of VR. It is February 1st, 2018. Yesterday I was talking about the HTC Vive wanting to position themselves as a top tier product. In order to do that, you're going to have to charge top tier prices. It's the same thing that they used to do with their phone line. Of course, they're going to start doing it with their VR line. It was funny because the same day I said something about that, there's an article that came out by Road to VR. On that article, the president of the Chinese branch of HTC, I think his name was Alvin Wayne Grayson or Graylin. He was talking, they were trying to get the price out of him, and he said that shortly it's going to be released and shortly everybody's questions are going to be answered, but I think they're laying the groundwork to try to prepare you because it's very interesting. He said that the new headset is not aimed at consumers, it's aimed at the professional consumer, so the prosumers, which is a weird way of stating it, I guess. But of course, they want to get you prepared for, at minimum, what the original came out with, if not more now, I think. And for the standalone headset, like I said before, it's going to be a minimum $500. Maybe $450, but I'm thinking more $500, even more maybe, the way they're talking. So when you look at what they're releasing, it's basically their original model. The shell's pretty much the same. They've added an extra camera. The only difference is that now it's got almost like an integrated audio strap. If you look, the complexity of developing and the different materials that goes into that headset is pretty complex. I mean, if you look at it, it almost looks intimidating. It's like just a big bunch of stuff that's going on your head, like a super complicated helmet. That's the route they're taking. I think personally that they are making a mistake. Similarly, there's a new headset that I think is coming out later this year. It's called the Pimax 8K. Now with the Pimax, the resolution is 3840 by 2160 in each eye, which for some reason it's basically 4K each eye, and they're calling that 8K. For example, the Samsung Odyssey, this baby right here, is 1440 by 1600 in each eye. Now when you're adding, now that's not really the big thing, because in truth the high definition came out, and when these 4K TVs first started coming out, and you would put the 4K TV on and you would notice, like, wow, it's actually looks almost even worse than my 1080 TV. And that's because the content wasn't made for that. Like a lot of times when I play games on this, yeah, it has a better headset, but if the content's not made for these higher resolutions or these higher field of views, if it's not designed and made for it, you're not going to get the best experience. And one thing that I've noticed, especially with this, is when you have them at your regular settings that the computer tracks for you and thinks that are good for your headset, the more pixels you have on these two screens, the harder it's going to push your headset. And with the way GPU prices are going right now, I think that is a serious mistake to try. I think it's a little too soon for those kind of headsets. It's kind of like if somebody announced tomorrow that they were making a 12K TV. Okay, you're making a 12K TV, but there's no 12K players or anything to show it. I mean, what does it matter? The real breakthrough, I think, that's going to be with the Pimaxes is the field of view. But have you seen this thing? This thing, I thought this thing would be heavy. That thing is just huge. And it's just a weight distribution. It just looks, I don't know if it's going to work out. They haven't announced pricing yet. One thing that I think is interesting is that they do use an inside-out tracking technology for the headset itself. And then for the wands, they're using, I think, very similar, or you can even use the same technology as the HTC Vive wands with the base stations that you set up in your room. You have to look up to Oculus because they were really firm, and with their Oculus Rift, they're not releasing any hardware for it. They're just going to concentrate on the software aspect. It was very interesting when they had a interview with John Carmack, and he was saying, would you rather have Magic hardware or Magic software? And he picked, which rightfully so, Magic software, because with the software for the hardware that they have, they can make everything look so much better. And then when you in VR, it's still incredible looking in there. And I've noticed the exact same game on the Oculus. When you can pick in Steam, you can pick the Oculus SKU or the Steam VR SKU. The game seemed to look better on the Oculus SKU. I don't know why that is, but I just think that their SDK is a little bit more advanced than the other headsets out there. They do have a better foresight for the future, because right now I think if you look at the percentages, the biggest problem with VR that's not happening with mainstream video games is that no women are playing it. So until you bring the women in, this is not going to be a healthy, sustainable market for developers to continue to make games and actually make something out of it. So until you have the female players in there, and so what does HTC Vive decide to do? They're bringing out the Focus right now in limited release. I guess it's in China right now. But this thing's like $800 or $600 or whatever it is, really high up there. Now Oculus is going a different route, and they're bringing a standalone headset called the Oculus Go. And I think the Oculus Go is kind of be like what the Nintendo Wii used to be a long time ago. This is just to hook them, bring them into VR cheaply for $200. That's that magic $199 price point. And then maybe they will be, well, I mean, they're still going to have a lot of the experiences, and maybe that will bring them to want to graduate to eventually like an Oculus Rift. I think that is a smart plan. That is where I would back it up as, and that's where I think VR is going in the future. So they're making definitely the right moves. Exciting news, Doom VFR. They added full locomotion, and even better and more exciting to me is they added Steam VR and Windows Mixed Reality support to their game. I did get to play it last night. I do have a video coming out. They also adjusted the angle of the wrists, and they added when you have full locomotion, and it's great. It's great to be able to have those sticks and move and walk, and I can just move this way while the monster goes that way, and I shoot him in the back, and then skew this way, and then to jump, you just make this kind of motion right here, and you jump. It's very natural feeling. I loved it. I really did appreciate that. Sadly, no Oculus support. Now there is, I think on GitHub, they have OpenVR input emulator, and that helps a lot. to be able to get that for the Oculus controls and change up the button setup. And they implemented a new patch for Fallout 4 as well. Sadly, no Windows Mixed Reality support, but at least this is a step in the right direction. I think they will soon. They added some performance and quality upgrades and fixes. They adjusted the world scale so you don't feel as tall or short. I think the problem was in that game. They inverted the Pip-Boy map. So they added an invert option to that, which is really exciting. And scope support. So I haven't seen it yet for myself. I'm going to try it tonight. But I've heard some iffy stuff about the scope support. So I don't know what's going on there exactly, but I'm going to find out and report on it. And sadly, again, no official Oculus support. But then again, you know, they have their little court battle going with Bethesda and ZeniMax, so who knows what's going to come of that. Lastly, the PlayStation. Yes, what they have is a very good developed pipeline and publishing arm and the logistics and everything. They have a nice setup for their developers that do go into the fold of PlayStation and decide to develop for them. They have the largest base. The biggest problem that they have, and they're almost like a separate like entity altogether. They're another one of those U developers or we developers that bring them in, hook them, and then maybe they'll graduate. The problem right now is, like I said before, with the GPU market, the way it's going. See, when you print a machine, and I design a machine, and this machine can print money. There's no way any company in the world is going to be able to make enough machines that print money. And yes, the bubble might burst, but it's going to keep happening. I just don't see an end to this. Anytime anybody makes a machine that can make money, it's just a disaster for that industry. This could kill PC gaming as we know it. I was going to build another computer. Instead of buying that laptop that I bought, I was going to build another computer this year. And what stopped me, and I was going to upgrade my graphics card. And I even put it for sale on the market for, I think, $450. And next thing I know, I'm getting like tons and tons of like calls about it, you know, asking me about it, this and that and this and that. And I'm thinking, wow, I'm going to sell this card quick. I better start finding out what a new 1080 Ti, you know, getting one. And I'm looking it up, and they're like $1,300, and they're all sold out. And I'm like, what's going on here? I didn't even realize it. This is already like January, and I'm like, what's going on here? And the prices skyrocketed. I mean, I didn't even notice it. This was like a week after like everybody started like talking about it and reporting on it. So yeah, I didn't build a computer. I decided to buy a built computer and a laptop to make it even more portable for my channel. So, I mean, it comes in handy, but that's not really. I wanted to build another computer, or at least upgrade my computer. So that never happened. And I think that's going to happen to a lot of people. What are they going to do? All those people that were thinking about buying computers, they had all like their money saved up, their $1,000 little nest egg. Now you can't even buy like a 1070 for $1,000. You know, like that's just ridiculous. And when you're starting to make more and more games that require higher and higher specs, and you got all these people out there that just can't upgrade right now, then now you have a problem. So I don't know what's going to come of this, but hopefully things get situated. I definitely think that Oculus has made the right decisions, and it's continued to make the right decisions, and let's see where it takes it. The biggest mistake with PlayStation is they decided to rush, I guess, their release of their PlayStation VR and come out with technology that is a generation old, their Move technology. And that was never developed for VR. There's a lot of mistakes with those wands. But maybe they can take the Oculus approach, because every single one of their games is supposed to come out with some kind of like stick configuration control. So I think that is probably more of like what their new controllers are going to look like. But the problem is, anytime anybody's ever tried to come out with an add-on to an existing product, especially years after that product has come out, it's never been adopted successfully, because nobody wants to develop for a new PlayStation wand that the majority of people don't even have or won't even ever buy. So it's like the chicken and the egg, and nobody's going to develop for it because there are not enough developers, there are not enough people there that have it, and there are not going to be more people that want it because there's nothing that uses it. So it's almost an impossible situation. They're going to have to wait till their next headset, maybe with PlayStation 5, if the VR doesn't continue on to the next one, which I think it's a mistake if they don't make it backwards compatible. We shall see. So this is more rumor, speculation. I hope you guys enjoy this little rant of mine. Please hit that like button, and remember, you guys stay warm out there and have a good night.